Yo, how's it going, guys? It's Richard, Unicorn Caller here, and I hope you guys are having a better day than I am. We're back with patch notes, which look absolutely hideous, but here we go, September 18th, basically for tomorrow. The main highlight is that players should now receive all expected awards for competing in PvP tournaments. That's very nice. And for the spells, it looks like we got a lot of heavy ones here. So all remaining burst healing spells above 0 pips, including Fairy, are now banned from advanced content. I don't know why. Maybe Fairy was just too overpowered. I'm trying to think of it from a PvP perspective. Personally, for me, I'm not a PvP player. So for that, I will leave that alone. Scales of Destiny now checks for opponents' shields after the initial hit. Nice. And then this is the big one that a lot of people are concerned about. Bottom Path Minotaurs results in myth traps rather than chromatic traps. Which, if you guys don't know, Minotaur would basically give you, like, chromatic traps, right? And then Bottom Path Stormzilla results in Stormblades rather than chromatic. So there you go. And of course, that's going to definitely be iffy with the Polaris raid because I know that these two spells are used for that raid. So yeah, they're going to have to, whoever makes the raid guides will have to just, I guess, not really rewrite it, but I guess adjust it or edit it out a little bit. Just because, since Minotaur does not give chromatic traps anymore, that will definitely be an iffy. I don't really know the whole banning of the burst healing thing. I don't really get that, but it is what it is. I don't think it should be too much of a bother. I mean, do whatever you gotta do, man. What's the point of even arguing about it? We're always wrong and they're always right, so what's the point? But hopefully you guys have fun with that, and remember, we're getting that maintenance early in the morning. We already talked about there being a maintenance period. So yeah, those are your patch notes. I mean, I don't know what else more to say. I mean, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we can check the spell book. I mean, there's not really that many, not that much healing that you can do as a life wizard. I mean, Minor Blessing is gonna get banned. Spree, I would imagine, would Spree be in that category as a burst heal or a heal over time? I don't know. But I would assume that that might actually be banned. Dryad's already been banned. That spell has been banned. Fairy is no more. Fairy is done. So if you like using Fairy in advanced content, that is no more. Even though I don't really heal much in raids. I'm starting to notice that from now on. It's like, I don't think there's really any use for like a healer in a raid. I don't really think there's much use to it because it's just looking at the strategy guides and stuff like that. It's mainly just buff hit, or set up a gambit and stuff like that. I would imagine that you could still use Pigsy, right? Because this is an allowed spell. This is the bottom path of Pigsy. So I would imagine that Pigsy should still work, hopefully. Rebirth should also work. I think the bottom path of Spree Swarm should also work. Unicorn has been banned. Satyr has been banned. What else? Regenerate should be decent. That's the thing. I don't know if these are like a burst healing because you do get a heal on the initial impact and then you get the heal over time. So I don't know if that classifies as a burst heal. I don't think all the heals are going to be banned, but it is going to be definitely just, I don't know, a tiny bit difficult to utilize it a little bit more. Dang, that's going to suck. Oh, man. Anyway, there's no point of arguing. Y'all can figure that out in the comments. I think everybody just gets exhausted with like the nonstop changes and kind of why the live streams, the dev live streams don't do everything because number one, not everybody watches a developer live stream. All right, it should just be in the patch note, be like, hey, why is this spell changing? What, right? I had somebody from Discord say that the reason why Minotaur and Stormzilla is changing because they're heavily relied on, so they want like people to use other stuff. And I would imagine that the reason why the burst heals are banned is kind of, I guess, to go against Jade players or just have people stop spam healing, I guess. But then that also affects other stuff such as raids and, you know, challenge mode content. So, I don't know. I really do wish they would just separate the stuff from PvP. But again, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all. I mean, I'm tired. I don't really have much to say other than figure it out, and hopefully everybody lives on with their day. We'll see what happens, but until then, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do for the Polaris raid because we had a Death Kabbalah set up. We might have to switch some spells around. By the way, guys, remember that it's free training point buyback. So if you're like me and you don't want to train up a bunch of spells, I highly recommend you participate in the free training point buyback if you have a membership, because you get all your training points back unless you've upgraded one of your spellments. But you know, with all these spell changes nowadays, I just feel like spellments are starting to like lose their cause in a sense. Not that they're not useful or anything, but if spells are gonna keep non-stop changing to try and fit a meta, it can become quite exhausting. The same thing happened with Helldivers too. You know, they were nerfing a bunch of weapons, and now what they started to do is actually buff those nerfed weapons, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I don't know. It's like a back and forth motion I'm starting to see with spells. I mean, personally for me, I don't care about most of these spells because I mainly do traditional PvE. I only really do advanced content if I'm doing some of the challenge mode stuff or the raids. And even when I'm doing the raids, I usually follow the guide. So the healing, I don't even heal anymore in the raids. Like, there's never a heal spell that's really in the raid anymore. You know, there's just never enough time to really heal. And for Minotaur and Stormzilla, that's going to be up to, you know, Myth and Storm Wizards or just people in general on how they feel about it. Because the chromatic traps were pretty good. I would imagine they would be quite versatile. But now that you don't get those chromatic traps, it's going to be a little iffy. Because now it's basically telling you, hey, now you should be like a Myth Wizard actually using, you know, Myth damage. Here, I'll show you down here. It shows you on the thing. Wait, let me just switch it off here. Yeah, this is what Minotaur bottom path does. You clear 4 shields for a plus 40 chromatic trap, right? Chromatic self assumes the magic school of the caster, right? And now that it's just going to be myth traps, then it's like, oh, okay, well, that's not good, right? Oh, man, I wish they kind of made, like, a third bottom tier where, like, a third branch where it would be chromatic traps or myth traps. That would be a nice solution, right? But, yeah, it might be a little bit too much work for them. Oh, well, it's fine. I'm sure they'll figure out other strategies for the raid. It's a very inconvenience. You know, it's a big inconvenience, right? And concerning heals, I don't think Pigsy is classified as a burst heal because the top path is banned because that's like a burst heal, but Pigsy bottom path is completely fine because that's just like technically a heal overtime because the initial burst of Pigsy is a very low like health value, like it's just 125, right? The main healing value comes in from the heal overtime. So I don't think spells like Pigsy and Rebirth Bottom Path and Regenerate and Sprite Swarm, I don't think those spells are really classified as a burst healing, especially Rebirth, which, by the way, I have been enjoying the bottom path of Rebirth lately because now you can finally enchant it, thank goodness. I'm starting to get a lot of criticals on it, which is really good, so I'm definitely starting to like the bottom path a lot more than the top path. I really do like it. Plus, you can use it in advanced combat, which you don't really need as much, but that's my main take about all of this. Hopefully in future patch notes, I would kind of just wish they would just tell everybody like, hey, this is why we're changing it, and instead of just, you know, random live streams and stuff like that saying, oh, we're doing this is happening, because again, nobody really watches live streams. I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all, right? I rarely live stream myself, but we'll see what happens, and hopefully everybody likes this patch notes, but until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.